Hello, Reg.
Hello.
You alright?
Hello, Mark Anthony, my brother. How
Yes,
are you doing? You alright?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you very much. And I can't tell you how thankful I am to have you here.
Do you know what? I'm grateful to be here. We've tried to set this up for a little while now, haven't we? And, just clash of schedules and that. But, yeah, I'm happy to be here. So, thank you very much for having me.
No. One of the reasons why I wanted to interview you was for a lot of reasons. One of the main reasons was because of our childhood together. When we were kids, we experienced some crazy things together. Both of us, we were in the same gang.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people watching this, they're going to be quite confused to hear that, but I've put it out there to the world for a long time. It's not like something I've hidden from. The childhood I had was, yes, I was in gangs.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later on when I was a kid. More than gangs, I was in a gang.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually the gang leader, funnily enough.
Yes, you were.
So one would say that you were my first lieutenant. Which was which is crazy to even think about now and to consider, but back then when we were kids, it was that was very important to us. It was very important to our survival, in fact. So I just thought it'd be great to have a conversation about this stuff because one, it shows how far we've come from it, but also it's a lot to do with yourself as well because I went down one path and you happened to stay on that path much longer. And ended up finding yourself in prison for pretty much a life sentence.
Yeah, that's right. It was a considerable amount of time. As you know.
Yeah. So for me, we're just looking at these things. So it's all about both of us went down different paths at that point.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what happened? What happened? From your perspective, what happened? What took you down that path? And how did I escape in that regard?
Do you know what? I think a lot of it's to do with environment as such. It's just that kind of you branched out and started experiencing new things and getting a whole change of scenery and getting into a new environment, basically. Whereas I kind of, even though I was branching out and doing new things, I was kind of pigeonholing myself in a sense to stay within a certain bracket and be around certain things, etc., which, I kind of, to be honest, I kind of like to be involved in, and that's how, at the time, I suppose, you don't understand how a situation can just escalate just like that or just get out of control. There's something you hear about, but you never imagine it happening to you as such. So, yeah, I think it was environment. You changed your environment, your habitat, so to speak.
Yeah, but I think for me it was more than just changing my environment. I mean, I was, and that's the funny thing is when we were growing up, you both of us were at the top in our top band at school.
Yeah. And
I kind of don't understand how two of the smartest kids in the school ended up finding themselves in gangs and in gang culture, down a path which pretty much ended up with a lot of people being hurt. People dying, all sorts of crazy things on the journey. Do you kind of, you said that you thought it was just the environment. Did you feel that did the school help you? Because I felt that the school didn't help me.
No.
But what was your take on your schooling as well?
My schooling, I think.
Well, come on, you were smart. You went to astronomy. What happened? How did you go from there to being in gangs?
I don't know. Do you know what it is? It's, well, growing up, I suppose, I wouldn't say I've always had a little bad streak or anything like that, but, I suppose when I was younger, I was kind of drawn to what some of the other kids were doing, like, oh, what's that? What are they doing? Like, how comes they're doing this and that? That's something I don't know about. Let me look into that, So maybe it was a bit of that as well. I had my interest in everything, like you said, astronomy, which I still like, but, that wasn't really... It's going to be a focus of something that I was going to focus on and perhaps try and pursue a career down that path or anything. At the end of the day, I didn't really know what I wanted to do at that age, to be quite honest. But, I just felt myself, just being drawn to other things off the norm of like, going out and playing football after school and, this, that, the other. I just, the things we found ourselves getting involved in were just, different.
So was it circumstantial rather than actually just based on the fact that we were forced into that place, did you just find it was just like circumstance that created those scenarios, or?
Not maybe
because people talk about systemic racism, they talk about, you know, the societal factors that prevent or cause kids from getting into certain trouble, things like that. Because don't forget, we actually, although we were both got involved in crime and things like that, and you know, a lot of times I tried to get us out. If you remember when we used to go to work, where I say, come on, every day, whatever, we used to go out into to those places we used to go and wait at 6 in the morning.
The catering, was it catering company?
Well, we used to go to the wine company. We used to go, you know, and buy, you know, where we used to stack bottles and. But we used to we go everywhere. They'd send us. You get there at 6 in the morning, and you just, if you were able to get the first job, early enough, you'd get taken on the van.
And you'd go and help set up.
You do something, anything, anywhere, in any job. And I did that as a way of trying to get us out of the habit of having to do crime all the time.
Something legitimate for us to do. Exactly. I remember doing that actually. That little company down in East Putney, I think it was.
Yeah. So didn't that kind of in your mind think? Okay, didn't that kind of like, okay, we can actually get a job? Didn't that? Because those things were. I was trying to get us to think outside of the box of criminality, as it were.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I think at the end of the day, even though it's not, it appears to be easier criminality. It's like, oh well, I don't have to go and slog my guts out to make this amount of money when I could basically be doing what I wanted and make more money. Do you understand what I mean? And at the time, I suppose, you know what the risks are and the consequences, but you kind of don't really think about them. You know, it's just the back of your head. And a lot of people don't realise that, like, if you're involved in criminality and crime, you've got to be lucky 100% of the time. That's got to be your record. Whereas with the powers that be, you know, they've got to be lucky just 1% of the time, just once. Just catch you that one time doing something that you're not meant to be doing, and it can all unravel for you. So, you know, it's not something that really that I took into consideration, even though I was aware of. I was just like, it will happen to someone else, it won't happen to me. You know,
so you felt impervious almost?
Not so much impervious, but I just thought, at the end of the day, I'll be all right, and if I'm not all right, I'll deal with it if and when it happens. That kind of attitude, so to speak. Yeah.
So the funniest thing is, I always, like I said to you the other day, I said that you're the bravest person that I know. And the reason why I said that to you was because, one, you know, when we were kids, and I remember at school when I got attacked by pretty much a whole class of kids.
Oh God,
and
I remember that.
And I remember it happened. It wasn't the first time it happened. But the fact is, they just happened to, you know, not the lower years. We would have called them the less intelligent bunch of guys in the, you know, at the time. That's how we would have seen them as.
You had 3 sets, didn't you?
Yeah, 3 sets. But they, you know, for some reason they had a thing. They had something. They had it out for me, whatever it was. I mean, I put it down to just not being black enough, whatever it was. I just wasn't. I did not fit into that, whatever it was.
Fit into their ideology or their notion of what it is to be black, maybe, or something along those lines. You came. I mean, everyone else, my friends at the time, my white brothers and sisters, you know, whoever it was that I knew, nobody else came to my assistance, but you did, and you knew a lot of those guys, but you still threw yourself into the fray. You know, to take a kicking for me, and that to me was, you know, the pinnacle of bravery. And that was for me, and that's how it was for me, and we became inseparable as a result of that. It was like, you know, this guy could do this for me. Yeah.
You know, and I just wasn't like, I was happy to fight on my own. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But it meant something to me because, you know, at that point in time, you know, we weren't exactly the closest people anyway.
No, we wasn't. We was like beefing when we first met. We were beefing, weren't we? We was and you know what? That was more like people on the fringes trying to encourage me and you to be at loggerheads with each other because maybe they found out that both of us united, you know, was a force to be reckoned with. So at the end of the day, they thought, it's best to divide and conquer with these 2 guys.
Yeah, I think that could have been lots of things. I mean, obviously at the time it was we were the only black kids in the class. So
that's right. Yeah.
Those things would have, you know, we would have been seen as keeping us apart might have been, you know, instrumental for a lot of people. It was really strange. Race did have played such a big part back in those days, which is...
It did, and I think as well, a lot of people, there's a lot of race issues now, but I don't think people realise that people my age group, older, and maybe slightly younger, like some of the things we had to go through growing up over here in enlightened Great Britain, about race and racism, it's crazy. Like, you know, even things like going to the shops when you're like 7-8 year old, and you know you have to walk an extra quarter of a mile to go to another shop because you know there's skinheads at the shop that you want to go to, which is close by. And maybe the other shops, the alternate shops you go to, don't have what your mum sent you out to go and get for her. So you've got to run that gauntlet and go to the shops, and there's like 8, 10, 12 skinheads outside, all calling you the N-word and, you know, just basically just ripping you to pieces. And then if you say anything back to them as well, they'll chase you all the way home. And if they caught you, oh God, you get a kick in. And a lot of people can't get their head around that now. That's what? That could never happen to me. But that's how it was.
But do you know why? It's because ironically, it's like those, I would say, is the you know, the gangs and, you know, our brothers and sisters, the youth that, you know, from a certain culture that we're talking about, you know, they become the skinheads. Effectively become the skinheads. You know, the ones that the kids have to dodge the bullet from.
Yeah, that's right.
And back in the day, it was like we were all kind of trying to work together. But equally, I think we were also the starting of a lot of this gang culture that we see today. And it would have been great had somehow something had stepped in and made and diverted that, but it didn't happen. This is what I want to talk to you about, and I find it quite interesting. So anyway, so you went inside. What was it like being inside, and not having the people that you used to have, you know, in your life there, for example, or not having the people that in your life come to see you? Did everyone come to see you? What was it like?
No, not everyone did come to see you. It's you know, a lot of people who go to prison, especially for a considerable amount of time, maybe they'll find that all their masses of so-called friends, you know, they're not about. And I understand, you know, life gets in the way and stuff like that, but yeah, it's only you get a certain core element who persist with you and take the time with you. You know, yourself being one of them. I appreciate you for it. Love you for that. You know, come make the time, travel to see me, because it's not like I was around the corner or I was in you know, a London Nick. Most of the time I was out in the middle of the sticks of, you know, here, there and everywhere. So yeah,
I remember being in Shortsea. That was the piece of resistance for me and Shortsea together.
God rest his soul. Yeah. Yeah, that was great. Do you know, I think I laughed for that entire visit when you two was there. It was great.
Yeah, but look, people on the outside are very judgmental. We know that.
Of course.
You were surprised how judgmental of people that have been in prison?
Not really, to be quite honest. I mean, it's every circumstance.
But there's a stigma. So
of course. There's a stigma.
How do you deal with that stigma?
I just have to get on with it, don't I? Like, I mean, you know, it's not something that I'm going to let hold me back or stop me or cripple me from doing anything that I want to do. But at the same time, it's not something that I can pretend didn't happen or ignore or try and paper over the cracks or cover up. Because a lot of people say to me, listen, like, if no one asks you about anything, you know, they don't need to know really. But I find, like, I'm not gonna, you know, jump up and down and shout from the rooftops where I've been. But I mean, you know, if it comes down to it, depending on what sort of interaction I'm having with someone and what the circumstances are, if it comes down to it, I'm not going to hide the fact where I've been or whatever, because, you know, that's just, you know, it's a part of, you know, it's a part of me now. It's a big chunk, you know, of my life, and, you know, I have to acknowledge that. And I do acknowledge that, and it's good because you take that into consideration as well. I do anyway, every day, and I think, like, look where I am now, and look where I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, something I take into consideration, and it makes me try to be more productive every day. Yeah, it makes me thankful to be, you know, have my own liberty, and yeah, it's good. It's good food for thought, and it's a good way for you to check yourself as well. So, yeah, in that sense, I try to it's not something I want to paper over.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's all good, and I appreciate what you're saying. Do you feel that your colour has anything to do with the way your life has played out?
Yeah, undoubtedly. I do, undoubtedly, yeah. And while there's a sense of, I mean, I think I've been fortunate. I've got, I've got, I'd say, a wide circle of friends and acquaintances, and I probably always have had. But black, white, Asian, whatever, and yeah, I find my colour. Yeah, it has been. Yeah, it has been.
But when you talk about
has
colour,
been a factor.
Is that factor in the UK? Would it be a factor in Jamaica or the Caribbean? Do you think?
Well,
It's only probably so it's probably it's kind of a UK thing rather than anything else.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because that's where I'm situated. But I'm sure that if you lived in Jamaica as a black man, okay, Jamaica's an island populated, populated by majority black people. But also, when you start going through the different echelons of society, then it can differ then, and same way probably over here, and same way in other countries.
You're talking about caste system then.
Yeah, that's
okay.
right. Yeah,
interesting you said that. When I said about it being a UK thing, I wasn't trying to support. Because people might say, well, you talk about the UK like it's like, well, why wouldn't it be a UK thing? It's just all I'm trying to explain is that this is England at the end of the day.
Yes, it
is. And people are gonna defend what's theirs.
Yeah,
that's just nature, simple
of course.
Human nature. You go to anywhere in the world, it happens.
Yeah.
So people are going to put themselves first equally. So that's just, again, you go to prison, you see how people defend, microcosms of other societies.
That's right.
And you see the worst of a human being in a prison. Outside of prison, you see the best because there are laws that but people still are those people.
Yeah.
But the laws prevent them from becoming those monsters that we see, when you're incarcerated and you have to fight for everything.
Again, I'm going to say 6,500 because you get people who are free and have their liberty and they are monsters, or they can be monstrous in different ways where they're...
And I'm saying the same thing then, that's exactly what I'm saying, exactly. So it's just, what I'm trying to say is this is what you get in society and everywhere and whatever, but you can't blame people for having that mindset. So if you, and that's, I'm not defending UK, racism in the UK, I'm not defending casteism in anywhere in the world, but we have
I think it's a human nature thing, regardless of where you're from. Then you're gonna want to defend what's yours or what you believe is yours, and an influx of something different or something alien to you, you're automatically going to get your defence up until or unless you make the effort to look into that. And to find out a bit more and think, well, actually, no, it's not that bad, or it's not this, or it's not that, or it's not this preconceived notion that I had of what they're all about. Unless you take the time, ignorance is a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, but I would say that, the reason I brought this all up, because I found with yourself that if anybody could deflect that racism, it'd be you. Because for me, you've always come across as the most likeable person, seriously, most affable in terms of, the way you communicate, the way you are with people, you've always brought out the best in people that you come in contact with.
Do you know what my, it's not my motto or anything, but how I try to live is that basically I try not to be judgmental, and it's hard because, sometimes you will see someone or something and based on how it looks at face value, you will make a judgment automatically, and that's human nature. But I try to fight against that in a sense. I try to just make it like natural to fight against it, to just be like, right, okay, that's a blank slate, and I'm gonna engage and see what I get back, and basically, then I'll make a judgment then, rather than just making a judgment without knowing anything about that person or that situation or that something. So I try and do that, and I think, it's an old archaic saying, but, I think like just to be, not polite, but just to be easygoing is not a bad thing. Some people think, people try and take kindness for weakness, and I think that's what's a major problem with people, and maybe with our black people as well. one of the major problems is you've got to appear strong. You've got to appear strong. You can't show no weakness, no cracks in the armour, etc., etc., etc. Why can't you do that and be easygoing? You know, and you know it comes down to, for me anyway, it comes down to like, you know, just being not hard-headed, but being strong, overtly strong. Sometimes that could be a sign of weakness because you're doing that as a defence mechanism. As if you say, don't mess with me, but you don't, you know, if you're...
So about that eyeballing each other on the street.
Just in general, just attitude, etc. Like, you know, you got nothing to worry about. I'm easy going. I've got nothing to worry about as far as I'm concerned. You know, I don't have to appear strong to anyone, especially Joe Blogs on the road. You know, you don't know me, I don't know him. Well, I don't have to.
How do you deflect it? If someone's on the street and someone's giving you eyeballing you, how do you deflect that?
Do you know what? Again, another old saying: sticks and stones. Like, don't put your hands on me. We're cool. You know, same as with, I'd say, 99% of the population. You know, don't touch me. You know, I'm all right. And plus, as well, what you get is a lot of it's gesticulating. A lot of it is just puffing up your chest. You know, it's trying to appear a certain way. And you're doing that by maybe dominating or appearing strong or appearing to you know, overshadow or show your strength over someone else.
It kind of sounds like being in prison.
It can be, but
it does. It does sound like it's like when people in prison, they're in their groups and they're looking for weaknesses. You know, if you're doing that in prison, then you're doing that on the outside. What a waste of life, don't you?
Well, yeah, I suppose. But I mean, I think it's conditioning. It could start in the home where some people have siblings and stuff like that. It'd be an extreme form of sibling rivalry. Whereas you've got an older sibling or something like that, and they're telling you, you've got to be tough. Don't let no one bully you. Don't let no one.
But that's because of society. That's because of what societal norms have become for them in those scenarios.
But the thing is, once you get that into your head and you carry that with you, and you know, and then whatever setting and environment you go to, that's a part of it, you know.
Do you know, I've seen some of those things in football where kids are taught to be aggressive, be aggressive, more aggression. And I said to myself, well, when do they switch off?
Well, and the fact is as well is that be aggressive in this situation, in this environment, for this purpose. But yeah, when you said how do they switch off, it's something you carry with you, and you're going to carry it into every different spectrum of your life.
Well, you're always going to be testing, aren't you? You're going to be testing that. You know, if I can do that in a match, why can't I do that in real life?
Yeah.
And you know, and unless there's someone to teach you, and I don't think the coaches are equipped or don't have the time to develop the players enough, you know, mentally develop them. So they don't waste as well. Some teams do. Some coaches, I mean, academies certainly, they've got some strict rules. But I've never witnessed anyone talking about don't take that into the real world.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, it's like aggression, and there's never been a talk after saying, "Hey guys, calm it down. It's cool. Now go back into your world." You know, they all feel pumped. They go off pumped. Anyway, going off. Okay. So, had you not ended up in prison, what career path would you have taken?
Oh gosh, I really don't know. I think